is an original, a pure original. I have known Denrele Edun, writer, producer, presenter, host, enabler of everybody that he meets. I have known him for almost 2 decades, and he has remained an original. Today's conversation, I decided to have as he turns 40. When I wanted to do this interview with you this year is because you're turning 40 this year.
Yes.
I thought you don't look 40. We had such a long conversation. You've never, ever heard Denrele Edun speak like this.
I didn't like what life in Nigeria and life in my family house was doing to my mother. I didn't like it. Her hair was thinning out. It was falling out. Like, her enemy had cancer.
Never. The things he says, the truths he shares.
And people think maybe because love was lacking in the home front, then go fuck yourself with your love and let me just love myself. Yeah.
The tables he shatters.
I am a black belter. I am not going to come out on social media and start telling you I'm going to insult you. I will beat. I don't arrive early to watch others arrive. I arrive late so that people can watch me arrive. Family members.
See how they're filming you.
That's good. Yeah. Growing up, I was a bit of a coward because I grew up in a family house surrounded by so many girls. Yeah. I kind of felt like I was weak now. Well, maybe because I've not been very lucky with and in love, more or less. So crying out loud, I'm going to be 40 in a few months because I don't have someone to fight these battles for me. Crying and laughing at the same time.
Yes.
I'm like the poster child for GAY, gorgeous and young. Move away. People have come and, they've stolen your shine. They've taken you out of the limelight. One of the presenters who knows me very well throws a question to James Brown and says, why they do like Denrele? He said that one, please. That one that came to meet me that was fancying me because I am trending now. I bullshit him. This is somebody I've never met in my life. Truly, I will say it here. I do not hate Bobrisky. I am not going to come out on social media and start telling you I'm going to insult you. I will beat. A lot of young people nowadays who look at me think that, the Denrele brand got to a certain level because maybe I must have granted a lot of sexual favors for money. I had quite a bit of male attention. Okay, so let me just give somebody a chance. And trust Wale to come and rub it in my face in the morning. Shebi mo software. Then it's a reversal of fortunes. He loses everything. And we moved from that duplex into an uncompleted building that had no doors or windows. I was like the outcast. Nobody wanted to even share seats with me. And that house I stayed in, I was the cleaner, the errand boy, the butler, everything. And then they had a son that was in command. So he practiced all the corporal punishments they gave him in school. I was his template and scapegoat and experimental guinea pig. I slept at the filling station. I showered at the car wash at the filling station. And I went to St. Gregory's and I wrote my exam. And I finished with 5 A's and 6 C's. Then go fuck yourself with your love and let me just love myself. Yeah. For me, what's my definition of happiness? Inner happiness was a struggle to find. And I kept looking for it in people. Because I said to myself, yes, I have so much love to give. So why are the people not giving me the happiness? So with all the people that I've dated, I remembered, well, they're all married now. One even just got married last month.
Right.
And it's a constant reminder. And I remember one of my family members calling my dad from nowhere saying, okay, so Denrele is going to be 40, he's not going to get married. And I told my dad, tell that woman to call me herself. Let me address the issue. Because she has no say in my tellings. But I found it first. I fell in love, fell out of love, was heartbroken severally. Now, I have not been in too many relationships, which is why I'm always very skeptical about getting into them. So one day I said to myself, okay, so yes. Okay, so maybe the girls do not have anything to offer me. And then I had quite a bit of male attention. Okay, so let me just give somebody a chance. That was the worst decision of my life. And from then on, I've said, right now, I am my own sugar daddy. I have a strong masculine side designed to take care of my feminine side. So I don't need anybody.
So you're dating yourself?
Yes, please, thank you. Because the person I decided to experiment with, I said, okay, so let me just even give this a shot. That was the most draining thing I've ever done in my life. And I said I am never going to be caught in that sort of situation. I met the most disrespectful, most disregarding, wahoo. Like thinking about it right now, this temper I've not seen. I tried to quell it. I said, okay, so God, maybe you sent this man into my life because you wanted me to change this person. Maybe you wanted me to, fix it. do you know how I got my reality check back?
Yeah.
I remember one particular time where somewhere this person comes, just talking a lot of crap, and there was a mirror beside me, and I looked into the mirror, and I said, Mumaraye, I looked at myself from head to toe. I was in some red bottom heels. I was dressed to kill, and I looked at the human being in front of me, and that was when I knew. And everybody kept warning me, like, you have to let this person's energy is toxic. The toxicity, it's even draining you. There was nothing I could do that could ever please this person. And that's surprising, because I'm usually the pleasing kind. So I went even overboard. You see, because I lived in a family house and we lived in a room the size of this space. It's like a matchbox. My dad, my mom, my sisters, and myself. It was even like it was like constant trepidation to even use the toilets. I remember days that we'll be cooking in the kitchen. You might be boiling pepper. Maybe you run into the room to pick something. Before you come back, you see mucus in it. Your cousins have spat in it. That sort of thing. You would go to the toilet, it's locked. I have to do my business in a nylon and maybe throw it into the next compound, or maybe pour it in the gutter. A house where, and I lived in this house for how many years? I can't even count. So growing up for me, first things first, I was angry that my parents put me in that situation, because I was born in Hamburg, Germany, for crying out loud. I started to understand luxury. And then my dad comes to Nigeria because his dad passes on. He wants to, show his family. We're like the hype of the Eduns at that point, because oh, my dad marries this exotic Indian woman. We come to Nigeria, they have a son who's gorgeous. They're living in Ijaniki Agbara estate. My dad has a huge bakery. And then, it's a reversal of fortunes. He loses everything. And we moved from that duplex into an uncompleted building that had no doors or windows. And then there was nothing to do. We couldn't even afford a stove. We were using coal pots. I would scale the fence to the next compound that was a farm, or put cassava. We had boiled cassava for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I would find this charcoal for, it to catch fire. And then my mom, she had my sister, and then she got pregnant. She was angry because my mom was teaching in different primary schools. So my mom took that anger to work every day. And that anger, I was the transfer of aggression as well. So she would take it, and when she found out she was pregnant, she was angry. She wanted to get rid of the child. And I remember the proprietress telling my mom, no, don't do that. And that's my youngest sister, Jumoke, who is, everyone says, the apple of my eye, simply because I knew my mom didn't want that child. And I knew that I was going to make that child feel wanted. My immediate sister, a rebellious human anyway, but we managed to calm her down. So at that point, I was the one bearing all that angst, all that. And I can't blame them for it, because my parents were at the point where my dad wasn't working. There was no job, and my mom was trying to find her Indian community to find people that could give my dad some sort of work placement. So, she was doing so much. And then long story short, I had to go live with my uncle because they couldn't afford to send me to secondary school. I remember my mom couldn't even pay for my common entrance. She got to school, the primary school, she was angry, throwing tantrums. The teachers were asking her, Anita, what's the problem? They went to report to the proprietress. God bless the proprietress, Mrs. Awupetu. She told Anita, is that why you're worried? Say she can't even buy sandals for the boy now. I was wearing slippers to school. I mean, from primary 1 to primary 3, I was, living the life, and then primary 4 to 6, I'm like, ish. I was like the outcast. Nobody wanted to even share seats with me, And then she gave my mom the money for common entrance. Mrs. Awupetu, God bless your heart. But I got into secondary school, I had to stay with an uncle, and that house I stayed in, I was the cleaner, the errand boy, the butler, everything. And then they had a son that was in command, so he practiced all the corporal punishments they gave him in school. I was his template and scapegoat and experimental guinea pig. I remember sometime in GSS 3, I was writing my junior WAEC. I got thrown out at 2 a.m. in the morning. I slept at the filling station. I showered at the car wash, at the filling station, and I went to St. Gregory's and I wrote my exam. And I finished with 5 A's and 6 C's.